What's up? All right, all right, guys. Fucking finally, I was trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. I don't know how much time I have today, but last night I was super tired and I end up freaking dying. So now I have to make a new character, and I thought I was already at the thing, but apparently I'm just at Solo Foundry. I gotta make a new character. I got a funny name generator because I like funny names. It would be boring if it wouldn't be funny.
Rude Pie Guy says. FVDHFXCGJ. Rude Pie Guy says. CGHKMGVJLGHJ.
Alright, back to this. Well, delete this. Yep. Alright. So now, I want to do a randomizer to the character creation. We got the monk.
Pagan! You failed to liberate your brothers, just as you have failed in poisoning my subjects against me! Call out to your dreamer. Let us see if he answers.
Monk. Mercenary.
Hired hand! Wanted in Oriath, you fled like a coward!
Witch.
Foul witch! Your very own coven cast you out for your forbidden pursuits.
Ranger.
Ranger! An outcast, lurking among the shadows of the trees.
Warrior.
Foundling! It is a pity to see you like this. You arrived on our shores a whipped and broken child. Our people made you strong. How were they repaid? Sedition and lie.
Sorceress.
Sorceress! You were banished by your Akara for experimenting with the elements. Arrogance has led you
One,
here,
two,
and
three,
arrogance
four,
keeps you
five,
on those
six.
gallows.
One,
Speak
two,
your
three,
piece.
4, 5, 6. Okay. Bennett. I'm a mercenary. Okay.
Hired hand! Wanted in Oriath, you fled like a coward.
Okay, now.
Every life has a price, and your crossbow has kept your
Funny
coin
name
purse
generator.
full.
Shut up.
Here you are judged and found guilty. What say you?
Right, generate. Oh, hold on. Hold on. Gender, he's a male. Cleanliness, logistics. Let's go. Dick and butch. Oh, now I can put this in the randomizer book. Okay. Let's randomize this name. Now it's great that it comes out with 3 different. Alright, so first name is Dick Bush. Alright. First name. Dr. Harry Beaver. Dr. Harry Beaver. And then last name Mo B. Dick. Mo B. Dick. Alright, what name are we gonna have today? Dr. Harry Beaver. Harry C. Okay. Alright. Alright. Dr. Harry Beaver. Let's see. All right.
Quickly! Stop him! Take down the degenerate!
I can't believe that actually worked.
One of the first ones! You're alive! I'm glad to see another living soul. The miller went off to warn Clearfell about a strange sickness plaguing our men. I was fixing to go after him, till that bloody thing got to me first. Now, all those who drowned in the flooding, suddenly they ain't so dead no more. I would appreciate it if you could... Reach Clearfell. Find the miller.
Well, that was unexpected. Now off to find this Miller bloke.
All right. I think I'm gonna. You guys don't mind if I watch YouTube, right? I have
Homeowners who like being ready. That's why we have safety tips for things like fires, home security.
When Kim Hyun introduces the girls to each other and tells Mirin that Hana Rin is his second student, the girl is covered in sweat from shock. When Mirin finally realizes that the stranger is his second student, she becomes even more furious. Noticing Miren's strange behavior, her master asks her why she's acting like this. Mirin says, slightly embarrassed, that she didn't know Kim Hyeon had another student until now. With a slight smile on her face, Hana Rin listens to Mirin and realizes that she is jealous. She then clings to Kim Hyun even more because she is happy to see him after so long, but he tells her not to do that. Mirin becomes even angrier and her body is filled with lightning bolts of rage and anger. Mirin's mind sinks into the universe as if dissolved by the shock of jealousy and hatred towards Hana Rin. All the while, the mystic god of chaos Haki Yako observes Mirin from within and calls her a marvelous creature. Mirin then agrees to the Ascendant's proposal, and he is startled and surprised by the sudden decision. The furious girl replies to him that there will soon be a case for which she will need Haki Yako's strength. After a while, Kim Hyun returns to Av's system room, and when she enters, she notices something that makes her look disgusted. Kim Hyun looks around the room and notices what a mess his assistant has made. Leaning over to the girl, he asks her if she has found the information she needs, but she doesn't even try to look away from her games. Kim Hyun threatens Av with the remote control, and the girl immediately tells him that she found the information about the creator as promised. The assistant then becomes desperate when Kim Hyun asks her what information she found. Av ends up telling him that no matter how hard she tries, she doesn't have enough rights to everything, so she hasn't been able to find out the location of the creator. But she also adds that she found another key. Kim Hyeon is very happy about this and asks what key she's talking about.
Oh no.
Av replies with a serious face that she has found something that could help her find the key, or rather the place where the artifact is located. Lee So-yoon comes to visit Kim Hyun and stands in front of the door before entering. From there, voices can be heard arguing. She realizes that she has to go in because she brought the documents, but she doesn't want to go in for one reason. A few days ago, Lee Seo-yoon and Kim Hyun saw a very strange and interesting scene. They watched both of Kim Hyun's students fighting with each other, and Lee. So-yeon wondered why they were doing that. At that moment, the girls were arguing amongst themselves which one of them was Kim Hyun's real student, but the guy himself said that they called it a normal sparring. Lee Seo-yoon noticed that it was more like a real fight to the death. At the same time, The female students themselves are having a really fierce fight using their artifacts that make them successors. At one point, Hana Rin orders Miren to freeze using her power. The girl then swings at the other student with her fist and is about to strike. But Miren in turn manages to move and protect herself from the impending blow to her face. At this time, Lee Seo-eun panics and asks if they should stop, to which Kim Hyun replies that he has already tried to say something many times and it's useless. Despite this, the girls continue to argue amongst themselves about who looks more like their master's apprentice and fight. When they are about to attack each other again, Kim Hyun is about to get in between them, calling each other names and arguing about whose master is which. At the same moment, Kim Hyun hits the girls on the head with 2 fists to make them stop immediately. In response, Hana Rin exclaims indignantly that the teacher allowed them to spar, and Miren just rubs her head
Are
from the
yellow
blow.
items good?
Looking at
I
the
don't know. And why don't I see your chat?
If this is like normal.
Where are you from?
Watching his students, Kim Hyun compares them to a cat and a dog, and realizes that they are nothing like them. In the end, he tells his students to go to a room and think about their behavior before he arrives. The
Rude
girls
Pi Guy
obediently
says,
head inside, and Lee Seo-eun notices their desperate
I
and
don't
upset
know where
mood.
this
Pi
Lee
Guy says,
Seo-eun examines the new
Guy
girl
boy
who has
gay boy.
appeared in the company and asks Kim Hyun who she is, since she is on par with his student Mi Ren.
Was it on YouTube?
Kim Hyun tells her that Hana Rin is his
Where
second
did I get
student,
that chat
but Lee
from?
Seo-eun
It's in the
can't
chat.
seem to believe
Oh,
it.
shit.
Kim Hyun then repeats
I
that
have no
Hana Rin
idea.
is his second student. At this point, Lee Seo-eun realizes that this is plus one more problematic person,
Me and
and
my
has no
ADHD
idea
shit,
how
so
to
many
handle
things
something
going
like
on.
this. Peeking around the corner, the girl watches the 2 students continue to argue and realizes
So
that if they
happy I
fight,
can do
she won't be
range
able to
attacks.
stop
Oh
them.
my gosh.
Meanwhile, Lee Seo-eun is thinking about where Kim Hyun has gone, while the boy sits in the system room scratching his ear. Looking at his keeper,
Ooh,
Av asks what's wrong with him, to which he replies that his ear suddenly itches. Distracted,
this?
Kim Hyun asks where the artifact
this?
that will help find the tower's
Vince
creator
Magic.
is.
Oh.
In response, Assistant Av says it's somewhere between the 8th and 35th floors of the training tower. She says that the 1st through 9th floors are the basic essence, but the 8th floor is divided into various dimensions. Kim Hyun says he knows what she's
It's some
talking about,
hardcore, man.
but he doesn't really understand.
Some
After
hardcore,
thinking for a
man.
while, Kim Hyun asks his next question about whether he can get to the 8th floor now. In response, Av's assistant opens a
kinda
system list of
missed that.
artifacts
What happened?
Hyun uses.
There's no such thing as bad weather with intelligent all-wheel drive.
Is the Kumgang 18 light strike technique. With this technique, a magical dome appears over the place where they are fighting. Following this, the magic dome suddenly explodes and covers a huge area. Eventually, such a blow causes irrevocable destruction and horrifying consequences. As Wukong tries to assess the situation, he stares into the dust and asks himself if Kim Hyun is finished. But right after that, the magical wings appear, followed by Kim Hyun himself with a mana ball behind him. The mana ball then begins to concentrate a new power that is clearly more powerful than the previous one. As Wukong tries to realize what's going on, Kim Hyun appears in front of him, ready to attack. Remembering his training with Chanma, Kim Hyun realizes that the truth of his return comes from within, not from the outside. Chanma also explained to him at the time that expending all available strength is not a real guarantee of success. Chanma then told him that through stability and accurate calculations and complete control of the heart, it is possible to
I think that
achieve
should
what
be
he
fine.
wants. Using all the knowledge he has, Kim Hyun is going to concentrate before he strikes. Following this, Kim Hyun swings his palm and makes a single movement to deliver the devastating blow. It ends with another bright magical flash enveloping the space around him. After the powerful flash, there is an
Dr.
equally
Harry
bright and powerful explosion that delivers a devastating blow. In the end, after the battle between Kim Hyun and Wukong,
Cool thing, I
only
don't run
devastating
out of
consequences and a pile of rubble remain.
Yeah.
Kim Hyun himself is left
This a-
standing in the
this a
middle of
hack.
an empty
This is
battlefield, which is plunged into chaos and destruction. After that, the guy receives a notification that he has defeated the Ascender, and his information gathering skill is raised to a medium-high level. Kim Hyun exhales smugly and clenches his fist in a sign of joy and pride. Examining his body, the guy realizes that this time he managed to defeat the climber without much damage to himself. Remembering the past, Kim Hyun realizes that before he had to rest for 2 or 3 days after his battles. Putting his palm up to the sky, he realizes that his training with Chanma has had a great effect. Kim Hyun clenches his palm into a fist and smiles as he looks up at the sky. Suddenly, the guy's attention is drawn to the artifact left behind by the climber, his staff Juyi Bang. Studying the basic and allowed by the skill information about the staff, Kim Hyun realizes that there is no time for the rest. Now he needs to find a place to contact it from. Thinking of something quite interesting, Kim Hyun squints at the staff and begins to smirk maliciously. Then, holding the staff tightly, he remembers that the building of the International Hunters Association was around here. Finally, he orders the staff of Juyi Bang to increase in size in order to reach his destination. Soon, Kim Hyun reaches the tall and beautiful International Hunters Association building. There, the guy thanks an employee for realizes that in the same place where Kim Ha-na-rin follows the master and stands next to him in the same place where Kim Hyun was when he was training with Chanma. Looking around and analyzing the situation, Sha Hyeon tries to figure out where he's gone. Behind him, Chanma is already sitting there, wondering who Shi Hyeon is and how he managed to get here. But Chanma doesn't really look interested or even bored during his question. At that moment, Shi Hyeon turns around and realizes that it's really Chanma. He thinks about what kind of answer to give him and whether or not he should mention Kim Hyun. As he tries to sort out his own thoughts, Shi Hyeon is extremely nervous and sweat drops appear on his face. He's here to stop depending on Kim Hyun. Eventually, Shi Hyeon smugly slams his fist into his palm and tells Chanma that he wants to learn martial arts. In response, Chanma sighs heavily and wonders where guys like that come from with such requests. But at some point, one important realization of the situation comes into the climber's head. He then asks Shi Hyeon if he's related to Kim Hyun in any way, to which the guy anxiously replies yes. Upon hearing this, Chanma slams his fist on a nearby pole because he becomes aggressive and angry with Kim Hyun. Chanma claims to have just fallen asleep and suspects that Kim Hyun is trying to piss him off. At this point, Shi Hyeon realizes that at this rate, he won't be able to convey the words that Kim Hyun asked him to say. But in the end, Chanma asks Shi Hyun to just get away from him, which the guy didn't expect. Chanma turns away from Shi Hyun and says that a guy like him can't learn anything. Shi Hyeon is shaken for a moment and realizes that Chanma has hurt his feelings. Then he remembers the disaster with the climbers and realizes how weak he is. Instead of giving up, Shi Hyun starts blurting out that he's only asked Chanma to do it one single time. He then tells them that he has to protect what he holds dear, and to do so, he just needs to become much stronger. Finally, Shi Hyeon says that if Chanma refuses, he will cling to him like a bath sheet until he agrees. At this point, the climber realizes that with this behavior, it's no wonder Shi Hyeon knows Kim Hyun. He will do the same to him. Hearing all this, Shi Hyeon's face immediately changes, and he listens happily to the fact that he needs to defeat Chanma. At this time, Chanma already starts attacking and says that if Shi Hyeon wins, he will give him the martial arts. As soon as the climber gets close to the guy, there is a massive explosion, and nothing is seen. This is the first time Shi Hyeon dies in the alternate world at the hands of Chanma's climber. At this time, Kim Hyun asks the stranger where he is going to take him and which boss he is talking about. When the man confirms this, then Kim Hyun asks what happens if he doesn't want to go to their boss. In that case, the stranger will take a new order and return, but Kim Hyun will only be able to find out who the boss is if he meets him in person. Studying the man carefully, Kim Hyun realizes that he speaks well, but it is clear that he will not provide any information. Still looking at the stranger, Kim Hyun thinks about what to do. It doesn't look like he's under attack. In addition, he remembers Ab and realizes that it feels like their boss is the one the assistant told him about. Once the guy agrees, the stranger escorts him to the golden elevator that is connected to their headquarters. As the elevator descends, Kim Hyun looks around and wonders why it's decorated with gems. All the while, they are descending through a kind of glass tube through which they can see how huge their headquarters is. When the elevator doors open, Kim Hyun is greeted by many bodyguards who bow to him. At this moment, Kim Hyun is struck with shock and wariness. He doesn't realize what's going on. The local boss is already waiting for him, and it is the second student who was waiting for him. A girl with pink hair and his mask on her shoulder appears in front of Kim Hyun. When she calls the boy her master, she immediately starts smiling radiantly. Kim Hyun is surprised to see her here and doesn't even know what to say to her. Kim Hyeon remembers that he had 2 female students during his time in the training tower. One of them is Mi-ren, who now spends all her time with her master. Kim Hyeon recalls the first time he met her in the tower. The future student's name is Ha-na-rin. That day, her partners had framed her and were about to take her life for the sake of increasing their stats. At that moment, the girl calls them traitors, and then a lightning-fast shadow flashes across the room to get rid of them. It was Kim Hyun who appeared, dressed in his teacher's robes. He punches the guys with his fist in one deft move. It was this girl who became his second student. At that moment, she was extremely surprised and excited when she saw Kim Hyun. In fact, they had an unusual relationship. She wasn't really his student, but rather a good conversationalist. Now Kim Hyun recalls that he trained Ha-na-rin as well as his student Mi-ren. Initially, Ha-na-rin was perceived differently. While in the tower, she naturally kept him company for a year and a half. After all this, the girl came out, but first of all promised Kim Hyun to prepare whatever he wants. Now Kim Hyun is discussing with her how she destroyed this. She says that she wanted to do it earlier, but lacked the strength. On top of that, the guy once talked about building an underground castle, which Ha-na-rin did for him in real life. Kim Hyeon surprisingly points his finger at himself and doesn't remember him saying that. In addition, Ha-na-rin prepared many other things for him, such as 50,000 pyong of American land. In addition, she organized a headquarters in every country considered Europe, also a casino and enough money to live on. At this moment, Kim Hyun listens to her carefully and tries to understand when he was talking about all this. Immediately, a memory flashes through his mind of when he and his student were lying by the lake, and she asked him what he would do when he got out. Kim Hyun smiled in response to the question, but he had a lot of things he wanted to do. As he began to list the things he wanted to do, he said that he wanted to sleep and not work every day, travel and have fun, and have a residence underground. Now after this memory, Kim Hyun realized that Ha-na-rin had realized everything, but back then he was just listing all the things he wanted to do. Wiping his mouth from the spilled drink, Kim Hyun watches the girl giggle lightly at him. He then anxiously activates his telepathy skill to find out the student's true intentions. But in her mind, all she can think about is her master. She repeats that she has prepared everything her beloved master wanted. Kim Hyun realizes that she's just like Mi-ren. Kim Hyun then opens her window of information and realizes that she has the same as Mi-ren and is the successor. At this point, Ha-na-rin listens with confusion to the master's question about what she will do next since she has become awakened. Just then, Kim Hyun gets up from his throne and approaches the girl. He asks her again how she is going to use the power she has now. That's the whole problem. Now Ha-na-rin can become both a guardian and ascendant in equal chances. If she suddenly becomes the ascender, then it will be necessary to destroy her. But suddenly the girl asks what it means how she will use the power. Then without much thought, Ha-na-rin replies that all her powers are only for the master, so she's going to dedicate them to him. Eventually the guy piles back on the throne and asks if she destroyed the last ascendant. Ha-na-rin says he was a great experiment. Showing her book, the girl says she tested her abilities and used the common skill repetition to win. Kim Hyun smirks and suspects that she had a hard time in the fight because the whole city is in ruins. But when Ha-na-rin replies that she hasn't defeated the white elephant for a long time on purpose, Kim Hyun's face twists in horror and dislike. To summarize, Ha-na-rin says that she now has money and resources, so the master can now play in her Sim City.
Not a good idea.
Looking at the enthusiastic girl, Kim Hyun realizes that she has a schizophrenia and behaves much worse than Mi-ren did at the beginning. To calm her down a bit, Kim Hen punches her in the forehead, leaving a small bruise. He then asks why she didn't seek a meeting with him, to which Ha-na-rin replies that she was controlling the rumors and wanted to prepare everything. Watching his student's behavior, Kim Hyun realizes to himself that she is just as crazy as he thought. Awkwardly bowing his head, Kim Hyun doesn't understand why all of his students are so abnormal, since he himself is a perfectly normal person. Kim Hyun is about to leave, but Ha-na-rin stops him from leaving because she has prepared so much. The guy calmly tells her that he will look at everything later. At this point, the girl silently listens. After that, she sighs sadly but doesn't hold him back. She claims that she understood everything from what was said to her. In that case, Ha-na-rin offers Kim Hyun to walk him out, to which he is surprised that the girl doesn't even cling to him. In the end, Hana Rin follows the master and stands next to him in the magic circle because her purpose is to be close to the master. When Kim Hyun asks how her organization will be, she replies that she has trained them well and they will die without her. Kim Hyeon realizes that he feels a sense of deja vu because Mi-ren has been behaving the same way, but nothing will happen if he takes her with him. Then Hana Rin takes the hand of her master, who explains to her that she should stand right in the center of the magic circle. Standing in the portal, the guy thinks that it's much more comfortable without Anya, because you can just breathe mana in here and everything will be fine. At this time, Hanama has an artifact of the mystic god of chaos on a table and is trying to talk to Mi-ren. At this time, Mi-ren replies to him that she is thinking about the terms he is giving her for her power. She reflects on the fact that she can't make decisions rashly, not sure if there is a catch, so she asks again about the offer. To which Haki Yako realizes that Mi-ren is trying to find out his true intentions. He explains that she shares her feelings with him, and if they meet a monster, for a limited time, she gives him control over what to think about. Mi-ren replies thoughtfully that she really should give up control of her entire body, but the god of chaos is furious. Raising a finger up, the girl says that different situations happen and will he take over her body at any time. The furious Haki Yako from the magic artifact replies that it is impossible because the contract is completely absolute. After finding out all the necessary details, Mi-ren realizes that the proposal is not bad, but it seems even more suspicious. The girl notices a magical portal appearing outside the window and opens her mouth in surprise. At the same moment, she rushes to the door and realizes that her favorite master is about to appear. Mi-ren runs out into the street, watching the magic portal and waiting for her teacher. But unexpectedly, not only Kim Hyeon's legs, but also some other person in the portal. And it's obviously a girl.
Time for the randomizer.
After the appearance of Kim Hyun and Hana Rin, who is holding his hand, Mi-ren seems to lose the power of speech and stop saying anything. His second student, Hana Rin, holds onto her teacher's hand and clings to him even more tightly. This unpleasant scene is noticed by the first student, Mi-ren, who starts screaming at what she sees. Mi-ren points her finger at her teacher and tells him that there is another girl next to him. At that moment, Kim Hyun turns to Hana Rin and asks her why she's clinging to him so tightly. While Mi-ryung demands her to move away from Master Hana Rin, reminds her that Kim Hyun himself told her to hold on tight, but he didn't really mean it. Awkwardly scratching the back of his head, Kim Hyun suggests that the girls get to know each other since the situation is such a big deal. When Kim Hyun introduces the girls to each other and tells Mi-ren that Hana Rin is his second student, the girl is covered in sweat from shock. When Mi-ren finally realizes that the stranger is his second student, she becomes even more furious. Noticing Mi-ren's strange behavior, her master asks her why she's acting like this. Mi-ren says, slightly embarrassed, that she didn't know Kim Hyeon had another student until now. With a slight smile on her face, Hana Rin listens to Mi-ren and realizes that she is jealous. She then clings to Kim Hyun even more because she is happy to see him after so long, but he tells her not to do that. Mi-ren becomes even angrier and her body is filled with lightning bolts of rage and anger. Mi-ren's mind sinks into the universe as if dissolved by the shock of jealousy and hatred towards Hana Rin. All the while, the mystic god of chaos Haki Yako observes Mi-ren from within and calls her a marvelous creature. Mi-ren then agrees to the Ascendant's proposal, and he is startled and surprised by the sudden decision. The furious girl replies to him that there will soon be a case for which she will need Haki Yako's strength. After a while, Kim Hyun returns to Av's system room, and when she enters, she notices something that makes her look disgusted. Kim Hyun looks around the room and notices what a mess his assistant has made. Leaning over to the girl, he asks her if she has found the information she needs, but she doesn't even try to look away from her games. Kim Hyun threatens Av with the remote control, and the girl immediately tells him that she found the information about the creator as promised. The assistant then becomes desperate when Kim Hyun asks her what information she found. Av ends up telling him that no matter how hard she tries, she doesn't have enough rights to everything, so she hasn't been able to find out the location of the creator. But she also adds that she found another key. Kim Hyeon is very happy about this and asks what key she's talking about. Av replies with a serious face that she has found something that could help her find the key, or rather the place where the artifact is located. Lee So-yoon comes to visit Kim Hyun and stands in front of the door before entering. From there, voices can be heard arguing. She realizes that she has to go in because she brought the document, but she doesn't want to go in for one reason. A few days ago, Lee Seo-yoon and Kim Hyun saw a very strange and interesting scene. They watched both of Kim Hyun's students fighting with each other, and Lee. So Yeon wondered why they were doing it. At that moment, the girls were arguing amongst themselves, which one of them was Kim Hyun's real student, but the guy himself said that they called it a normal sparring. Lee Seo-yoon noticed that it was more like a real fight to the death. At the same time, the female students themselves are having a really fierce fight using their artifacts that make them successors. At one point, Ha-na-rin orders Mi-ren to freeze using her power. The girl then swings at the other student with her fist and is about to strike. But Mi-ren in turn manages to move and protect herself from the impending blow to her face. At this time, Lee Seo-eun panics and asks if they should stop, to which Kim Hyun replies that he has already tried to say something many times and it's useless. Despite this, the girls continue to argue amongst themselves about who looks more like their master's apprentice and fight. When they are about to attack each other again, Kim Hyun is about to get in between them, calling each other names and arguing about whose master is which. At the same moment, Kim Hyun hits the girls on the head with 2 fists to make them stop immediately. In response,
Perry, I will train morning, noon, and night.
My dream of becoming an adventurer and being useful has finally come true.
Do not allow a single citizen to fall. Divine shield. Icicle dance.
An adventurer will raise their sword and strike down evil for those who cannot.
That is an adventurer. Perry.
What did I get? Lesser. Oh, I got gloves though. Yo.
You're dead.
So you think you know Wix, do you really? First up, we've got shape video masks. You can use different shapes to create completely different vibes and aesthetics. Or you can create your own graphic. I use the shape composition here. Just import any SVG file and set it as a shape mask. Nice. Next up, we'll keep it moving with the hover box. You can use it to animate any element and create.
Ha-na-rin exclaims indignantly that the teacher allowed them to spar, and Mi-ren just rubs her head from the blow. Looking at the devastation the girls have caused by their fight, he asks them if this is like normal sparring. Watching his students, Kim Hyun compares them to a cat and a dog, and realizes that they are nothing like them. In the end, he tells his students to go to a room and think about their behavior before he arrives. The girls obediently head inside, and Lee Seo-yoon notices their desperate and upset mood. Lee Seo-yoon examines the new girl who has appeared in the company and asks Kim Hyun who she is, since she is on par with his student Mi-ren. Kim Hyun tells her that Ha-na-rin is his second student, but Lee Seo-yoon can't seem to believe it. Kim Hyun then repeats that Ha-na-rin is his second student. At this point, Lee Seo-yoon realizes that this is plus one more problematic person, and has no idea how to handle something like this. Peeking around the corner, the girl watches the 2 students continue to argue and realizes that if they fight, she won't be able to stop them. Meanwhile, Lee Seo-yoon is thinking about where Kim Hyun has gone, while the boy sits in the system room scratching his ear. Looking at his keeper, Av asks what's wrong with him, to which he replies that his ear suddenly itches. Distracted, Kim Hyun asks where the artifact that will help find the tower's creator is. In response, Assistant Av says it's somewhere between the 8th and 35th floors of the training tower. She says that the 1st through 9th floors are the basic essence, but the 8th floor is divided into various dimensions. Kim Hyun says he knows what she's talking about, but he doesn't really understand. After thinking for a while, Kim Hyun asks his next question about whether he can get to the 8th floor now. In response, Av's assistant opens a system list of artifacts and says that he will need them to get through. Kim Hyun looks at the list and tenses up at the fact that there are 5 of them, but the girl assures him that he will be able to find them quickly. She then explains that 2 of them have the exact location and the other 3 are all from the same person. At the same moment, Av shows Kim Hyun something on her tablet so he can see which person she's talking about. Seeing the familiar picture, Kim Hyun's face starts to break out into a smile because it's really going to be a simple matter. Eventually, the guy is going to get up and go do the business that Av has organized. Finally, the guy looks over with a slight smirk and squints at the picture of the man in question. Av's assistance tablet shows an article about Montana Senator Athelec Port, who owns the artifacts in question. At this time, Mai Ren asks Ha Na Rin how she got the mask on her shoulder that belongs to Kim Hyun. Ha Na Rin strokes her shoulder and says that Master Kim Hyun himself gave her the mask. Mi Rin gets angry when she hears this, because it can't be, because Kim Hyun is very careful with his masks. During the argument, Mi Ren says that she learned martial arts from the master, and Ha Na Rin mockingly replies that she will continue to learn martial arts for the rest of her life. Mi Ren's second student then becomes even more aggressive and realizes that Ha Na Rin is eager to die at her hands. Kim Hyun appears just in time and notices that the girls continue to argue with each other and don't even think about their behavior. Both students turn around and notice their precious master and call out to him with one voice. At that moment, Kim Hyun thinks that he shouldn't have brought Ha Na Rin because he thought the girls would become friends. But apparently he was wrong. After that, the guy tiredly clutches his head and says that there's something the girls should do. The two students both tell their master to give orders and they will do whatever he says. In the end, Kim Hyun sends Mi Ren to Hong Kong to bring the blind man's compass, and Ha Na Rin should visit Mexico for the Silver Arrow. After listening to all of his master's instructions, Ha Na Rin smiles and asks if Kim Hyun needs anything else, to which he replies to act very peacefully. Meanwhile, in Montana, Athelec Port is on the phone with someone and is told that it is impossible.
Let's go. Let's spin.
As the conversation continues, Athelec Port offers someone a very large sum of money just to get what he wants. At this moment, Evan enters his office and distracts the old man from his cruel and rude talk. Eventually, out of madness and anger, Athelec Port throws his phone on the floor and it crashes. The old man then clutches his head and shakes with anger. Everyone says no to him when he asks something about Kim Hyun. At that moment, Evan assures the senator that he has visitors, but he is surprised because he has not made an appointment with anyone today. Evan smirks and says that it's an unplanned meeting and that the man just showed up. Athelec Port, in turn, considers Evan's words to be complete nonsense and is about to get up to leave. But suddenly there is an explosion and the stone wall breaks. Someone penetrates the senator's office through the wall into the street. A frightened and shocked old man, Athelec Port, cautiously peeks out from behind the rubble of the wall and tries to figure out what is going on. At that moment, Kim Hyun's foot appears, wearing a slipper. Kim Hyun mutters something to himself. When Athelec Port notices the guy he already knows in front of him, he is horrified and afraid of him. Squatting in front of the Montana senator is Kim Hyun, who didn't enter their building in the usual way. Pointing his finger at the guy, Athelec Port indignantly asks how the guy dared to do such a thing to his house. The sweating senator then listens to Kim Hyun say that he knows about his bribes and that he is shitting on others behind their backs. Lastly, Kim Hyun smirks and says something about the senator being a chief in American killing day circles. All the while, the tense but indignant old man listens to the guy about what sins he's committed. Eventually, Kim Hyun stops because he can't even read this stuff. The senator has been pestering everyone with calls this week. Kim Hyun asks him if it's interesting to fake news when he hands Athelec Port a document. But the senator himself doesn't understand how such a thing is possible. He looks at a satisfied Kim Hyun and asks how he managed to find out everything. Athelec Port turns to Evan and realizes that he has something to do with all this, to which Evan replies with a fierce smile that someone had to behave. At this point, the senator realizes his business is bad. Evan holds out to Kim Hyun a list of guilds that were going to help defame his name. When Kim Hyun hears about this, he's surprised that the senator would want to do such a thing. Athelec Port himself doesn't even know what to say anymore. He realizes now that this is a complete failure and the mad hunter Kim Hyun will swat him like a fly. Terrified, the senator falls to the ground, listening to Kim Hyun threaten him that he wanted to bury him, but that's not soulless enough for him. Instead, Kim Hyun offers to make a deal and squats down in front of the man. He's heard that the senator is skilled at collecting artifacts, so he demands the giant series from him, and in return, he'll forget everything. Kim Hyun smiles, a wide and satisfied smile, and looks at Athelec Port and asks if he is satisfied with this outcome. Mi Ren goes to Hong Kong to some beautiful building that looks like a medieval castle. There she meets a strange man who is extremely surprised and tense at seeing Mi Ren here. After giving the girl a cup of tea, the man asks why the lady has come here, to which the confident and cold-blooded Mi Ren replies to the stranger that she is in need of the blind man's compass. When the man hears this, he tenses up even more and is shocked. He asks why she needs such an item. But without waiting for an answer, he immediately changes his face and assures the girl that she will have it soon. In response, Miren points out that he only has 3 hours to work. He needs to bring the item no later than that time. When the man starts to make excuses, Miren immediately changes his appearance to the mystic god of chaos, and the stranger sets off immediately. Miren then summons subordinate number 1 and orders him to assist the stranger in finding the artifact. At this time, the girl is thinking that she will definitely accomplish her task before Hana does.
Oh, shit.
After completing the task, Kim Hyun brings the blind compass to the system room and gives it to Abby. The girl examines all the artifacts and is surprised that Kim Hyun got everything in 2 days because she thought it would take at least a week. At this time, Kim Hyun falls back on the couch and brags to his assistant about his fate. Looking back at her students, Kim Hyun says that Hana Rin brought the arrow in less than an hour, and Miren did the same thing with the compass. Eventually, Ab is going to combine the artifacts she got. This is possible if they were united before. After that, the girl inserts the blind compass into a strange hole and starts twisting it with her small fingers.
I think
a strange holographic projection appears in front of her to help her create a single item. At the same time, Kim Hyun watches his assistant Ab with his mouth open in amazement. In turn, the girl is passionately studying and doing something in her holographic machine. She's trying to connect all the received artifacts into one, and that's why the compass starts spinning. If you look closely at the artifact, you can see the arrow on its dial glowing brighter and shining. The artifact ends with a bright flash that Kim Hyun and assistant Ab are watching. With all the work they have done, they manage to get the blind man's compass completed. It can find any location desired by the user. As Kim Hyun looks at the newly obtained item, he is delighted to see that its appearance and information has changed. To which the smug Ab replies that these are the true abilities of the blind compass. Continuing to look at the artifact, the boy asks if they can get to the right floor. Ab tells him that they need to enter the maze using the compass. After a while, Kim Hyun successfully enters the deeper part of the labyrinth. There he encounters the local Knights Defenders, whom he has already dealt with. Finishing with the monsters, Kim Hen starts yawning from fatigue or boredom so much that tears appear in his eyes.
Disney got so much money to advertise in the hopes that their game would pretty much, well,
You didn't start a business just to keep the lights on.
Would be just
You're
as
here to sell
successful
more
as
today
Fortnite.
than yesterday.
But I doubt
You're
it.
here to win. Lucky for you, Shopify built the best converting checkout on the planet. Like the just one tapping, ridiculously fast acting, sky-high sales stacking, champion of checkouts. That's the good stuff right there. So if your business is in it to win it, win with Shopify.
After that, he picks up the blind compass and examines it. He wonders how long it will take to descend. Because of the lack of light, he doesn't know how much time has passed, and Kim Hyun has run out of food. But he doesn't really care about the food. He's just going to continue with his plan. Before going down into the labyrinth, he told the students that they would stay, and if anything happens, they need to protect the place where they are. At that moment, Hana Rin asks to take her with him while the other student Miren is left here. Hana Rin continues to bully her, saying that their proud first student Miren is capable of defending the place alone. But in response, Miren is willing to argue that as the first student, she has the right to be in charge of her teacher's security. The girls start arguing again, calling each other names and smiling mockingly. Kim Hyun watches on unhappily. Now Kim Hyun continues to fight the monsters by showing his fighting stances. He wonders if the female students will destroy the city during the fight. At this time, the green goblins living in the depths of the labyrinth continue to attack the hunter Kim Hyun. A lot of monsters start coming at the guy, but he behaves calmly and confidently, going to resist them. Using his power of the First King technique, Kim Hyun deals with the flood of attacking monsters with a single blow. He then thinks it's a good idea to use a name that shows he's not to be messed with,
Yikes.
but it's just letters.
Almost died there.
Passing by the dead green goblins, Kim Hyun is about to move on through the labyrinth. Examining the body of one of them, Kim Hyun realizes that the further he goes, the weaker the monsters in his path. Then one very pleasant and interesting realization comes into his head. Raising the blind compass upwards, Kim Hyun realizes that he will soon reach the exit of the labyrinth. At this time, Lee So-yoon comes to the Guardian Guild and greets Anya. She wanted to say goodbye to Kim Hyun before he goes into the labyrinth. She says that she wanted to contact her before he left, but Kim Hyun has his own way of doing things. Suddenly, at some point, Lee So-yoon's gaze drifts forward and she notices something. While surrounding Anya is contentedly sipping her coffee, Lee So-yoon notices a familiar sword next to her. Distracting the girl from her thoughts, Anya turns to Lee So-en and says she was going to ask her something. Lee Seo-yeon tells her not to hesitate and not to be shy, but to ask what she wants to know. Anya becomes embarrassed, but still asks her question about when the hunter Shi Hyeon will return. Lee Seo-yoon herself didn't expect such a question, so she is stunned and doesn't know what to say. Somewhere in the depths of the labyrinths in the Atlantean Empire, an ascendant named Hungry Spirit appears. On the other side, fighting him is the Atlantean Empire's first swordsman, Swordmaster Swilch. This wounded fellow realizes that the Hungry Spirit is